11.1, angle and line relationship. So we're going to discuss.
I got a question.
Okay.
Is these like our notes now?
Those are your notes for lesson 11.1. 11.2 you'll have to do your own, but those, because we have so many notes in 11.1, I copied them for you. So you can fill in as you go, please. Oh, thank you. Angle and line relationship. So first we're going to start with two intersecting lines. And when you have two intersecting lines, what is formed is four angles. Okay, and the four angles that are formed, you could call them a couple of different things. First one, vertical angles. And vertical angles are angles that are across from each other when two lines intersect. And they're also equal in their measurement, which is really the most important part of that. So let's see, we've got two sets of vertical angles from this picture. Can somebody name one set of vertical angles? They're angles that are across from each other when two lines intersect. So what would one set be? Morgan?
1 and 3.
Right, so one set, angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical. And then what would the other set be? Warren?
4 and 2.
Angle 2 and 4, sure. And the thing with that, just like the most important thing with that, is angle 1, if I put one little mark there, and angle 3 I'd put one little mark, that means they are equal in measure. That's going to be really important that you remember when they are opposites like that, they are equal. So 2 would have 2 marks and 4 would have 2 marks. That means they're equal measure on that side. So vertical angles are across from each other when two lines intersect and they have the same measurement. In this picture we also get adjacent angles, and adjacent just means that they're side by side. So we have several pairs that we could actually name here in this. Let's just name a couple. If I named angle 1, could somebody tell me what would be adjacent to or side by side with angle 1? Angle 4. Angle 1 is adjacent to angle 4. But if I put angle 1 again, Freddie, what could angle 1 be adjacent to also besides 4?
2.
Angle 2. So it's just angles that are side by side. They share a common side. So if I said angle 3, give me an angle, Brady, that's adjacent to angle 3.
2.
Angle 2. So adjacent, side by side, they don't have any specific measurement requirements. It's just right now they are side by side. Any questions about that? All right, so let's move on. So that's vertical angles and adjacent angles. Now, a special kind of pair of angles that are adjacent, they're called linear pair. Linear pair are two adjacent angles whose outer sides make up a line. And linear pair, do you see any word in the word linear that might help you out here? Line. And if you see a linear pair, their outsides are aligned, so angle 1 and angle 4 would be that adjacent linear pair. And look at their measurements. 120 plus 60, it's going to be 180 degrees. That's what makes them a linear pair. So anytime you see a picture where you have two angles side by side and their outsides make a line, you know there's 180 degrees between those two. What's going to happen in your assignment with this is they're going to give you pictures of different angles, and you're going to and some angle measures, and then you'll have to find some missing angle measures. So just remember, linear pair, a line, 180 degrees total. Okay, lots of definitions today, so let's move on. Two other types of special pairs. They kind of go hand in hand because they are extremely similar. One major difference, and that's the angle degree that they add up to, but you have complementary angles and supplementary angles. And I kind of have a little trick here for you at the beginning to help you remember. Complementary angles are two angles that add up to 90, where supplementary adds up to 180. And my hint is C comes before S in the alphabet, and 90 comes before 180. So the smaller letter, let's say, is the smaller amount. So complementary angles are 90. Supplementary angles are 180. Now, one thing we can get out of that, what kind of angles have we already seen today that we could call supplementary? Do you have a question?
Oh no, I was gonna say Miss Briggs when we were in sixth grade, she taught us that if you put a line next to the C, it makes a 9. If you put a line straight to the S, it makes an 8.
Oh, so you're saying there's a 9 there and there's an 8 there.
Yeah.
So an S would make an 8 and a C would make a 9. There you go. Okay, so all kinds of tricks you can use. The C before S is 90 before 180, or the 9 and the 8. That works too. Okay, so back to the question. What other pair of angles have we seen already today that we would consider supplementary? We just talked about them. Lindsay? Yes, a linear pair would definitely be supplementary because they add up to 180. All right, so here's some examples of the types of problems you might get today in the homework. So the first example, example 1, here is an angle. Look at the whole picture and what's there. One thing I might point out is this box. You're told that this angle is 32 degrees and this one's x. So what is the value of x? Anybody got any ideas? Nicole?
32 plus x equals 90.
Yeah, 32 plus x equals 90. How did you get the 90?
Right angle is 90.
Yeah, the right angle, that box means it's a 90-degree angle. And then how can I figure out what x is? Subtract 32 from each side, and x would be 58. So x is 58 degrees. All right, any questions on how we found that? What kind of angle pair is that? Those two angles would be considered what, in case they asked? Any ideas? Warren? Yeah, these would be complementary. In case they ask, you would say that those are complementary. They add up to 90. Okay? They may not ask that each time, but just good to know that information. All right, now example 2. It says find x. Not a lot of information given other than this angle is 27 degrees, and they want you to find this angle. We've got two lines intersecting. Any ideas on that? Any ideas on how we could figure out what x is?
Because they're opposite to each other.
They're opposites, so that means what?
They're equal.
They're equal. Do you remember what the actual name is called? Began with a V.
Vertical.
Yeah, vertical angles. They're vertical angles. So, angle X equals 27 degrees. And I'm going to use that little angle symbol. Angle X equals 27 degrees. Okay, those are vertical. Questions about that? All right, let's see what else we've got here. All right, example 3. Example 3, it looks like we have this line. We have 65 degrees here and x here, and we're supposed to figure out what x is. So any ideas about that? Any ideas about that? Morgan? x plus 65 equals 180. That's a line, so that makes this a linear pair. It also makes it supplementary. Okay, so how would we solve for x then, Morgan?
Minus 65.
So subtract 65 from each side, and that would make x equal to, what do you think? 115. Good job. Okay, questions? All right, I have got